and thanks for showing up. Really looking forward to the day when we can do this again in person. Sharif, your backdrop is amazing. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. Nice work. If you're checking out Sharif, that's an actual Story Slam scene from when we were doing these live. So tonight's Story Slam, it's number 36. It is also officially our 7th birthday tonight. We had our first one on January 20th in 2014. So happy birthday to us. And tonight's theme is breaking the rules. We've got 4 storytellers in the jack-o'-lantern, our traditional little name bucket. So if anybody else would like to put their name in the bucket, you can raise your hand digitally or put your name in the chat. Get my attention somehow. Send me a message and I'll write it down for you. Abigail's in it for the pizza. Are we doing pizza?
It's hard to, if you win, I'll give you a pizza slice. It's hard to give the pizza tickets virtually. Right.
That's something, maybe we can look into how to do that virtually.
Yeah, I'll buy myself a pizza. That's good.
Perfect. Anyways, as I said, it's presented by Teton County Library. Thank you all for being here. And I don't know where she is on your screen, but in my top left corner, that is Leah Schlachter, and she is our event producer. So awesome, as always. Thank you so much, Leah, for all the hard work. She and I were actually just talking before this all started about how even though we've done this now 36 times over the last 7 years and done it virtually quite a few times now, it's still like every time is kind of new and still takes a lot of work to manage and put it together and have it go smoothly. So huge thanks to Leah for all the effort she puts into making this happen. For our storytellers, here's some general details on tonight. It is a competition as always, so we'll be awarding our top 3 storytellers of the evening. We'll be picking 5 names total from the bucket. If we have more than 5 names, anyone not picked will be invited to tell the first line of their story. The judging criteria, as always, is that your stories must be true. That's first and foremost, and we can definitely tell when they're made up. So don't feel like you can get it biased. No notes, although I am using notes right now, as always, to go through all of these details, but no notes for the actual stories. You must incorporate the theme. Tonight's theme again is breaking the rules. And then overall, you'll be judged on your overall storytelling technique. We do have a time limit that you'll need to stay within. So it's a total of 5 minutes. You will get the 1 minute left sign. Leah's holding that up right now for the warning. And then at 5 minutes, you will hear our maraca. There you go, our traditional maraca. If you're new to the Story Slam, you don't have to just cut it off when you hear that, but it's sort of the wrap it up music. As I said, 5 storytellers. I'll keep an eye out for if there's anyone else who wants to tell a story. We've got 4 in the bucket right now. We can take as many names as we get. We'll just only pull up to 5. And then, as always, we've got our anonymous Mad Libs. So if you check out the chat function there, Leah has put what the Mad Libs are and the link to the anonymous Google Forms. So you guys can fill those out. We ask you to fill them out because they're fun and it helps add a little bit of flair to the event. Tonight we have 3 Mad Libs tonight. I am happy that I broke this rule, blank, because of blank. We've got, I should never have broken this rule, blank, because blank. And finally, I think everyone should break this rule, blank. So get creative. I'm not really going to censor you, but you don't have to try and like make me say the gnarliest thing ever, but let's have fun with it. Some tips for all of us, be supportive of our storytellers as always. It's a little different in this virtual format, but you can snap and wave and clap. And even though we can't actually necessarily hear everybody, the action helps. And there's even some functions that I think most people are probably familiar with Zoom these days, but you've got your reactions button down at the bottom. So feel free to use those. And any way you can figure out how to support our storytellers is hugely appreciated. What else? This is being recorded, so if you want to rewatch it or someone who isn't able to check it out, it will be available on YouTube, and I think we can get you there. You can either search for Teton County Library on YouTube, or I imagine you can find it from the library's website. and or Facebook page. What else? Oh, and this is important. So we are going to record the whole thing. If you tell a story and you're not comfortable with it being in the recorded copy that lives out there on the internet forever, we can edit you out. So, don't let that stop you from telling a story tonight. We can take you out of the permanent version. This will not go on your permanent record. And then otherwise, we're not doing an intermission. We've got about an hour's worth of storytelling, give or take. So we'll just run right through it. Feel free to do what you need to do wherever you may be. It seems like most of you have figured out how to get here to Zoom. So feel free to play around with it. If you are new to Zoom, top right corner has some different view options, gallery view, speaker view. And then if you scroll along the bottom there, you'll see there's some reactions like I just talked about. There's a chat function, so you can send individual people messages, or you can send the group a message. And then finally, what else? We've got 40 participants so far. That's awesome. So, and I just changed something. There we go. Uh-oh. Bear with me. I've got one of those really, really sensitive touchpads. Luckily, haven't sent any emails that I didn't want to send yet. All right. Talked about the Mad Libs again. Those are going to be super fun. I see some answers popping up in them in the online anonymous. Again, very important. It's anonymous. So if you have Mad Libs to add, please do. For those telling stories and for those just hanging out and watching, first off, welcome. We're stoked that you're all here. A couple of storytelling tips. Remember, it's not group therapy. It's not stand-up comedy. And the more genuine and vulnerable you are in your storytelling, the more everybody's going to be like supportive and really into your story. So just let it fly. This is very much a safe environment. We are very supportive of each other. And if whether you're a veteran or new to the Cabin Fever Story Slam, we're excited to have you be a part of our Story Slam fam. So thanks for being here. Also, did I say that? No notes? I did. Okay. We've got 2 judges tonight. So thank you very much to Amy King. She's one of our part-time library assistants over there at tclib.org. And then we have Den Binderup, one of our regular, as of the last 6 or 8 months, one of our very regular story slammers, and very often ending up on the podium, if not at the top of the podium. I think she has a couple or few hats of her own right now. So thanks to Amy and Den for being our judges. And then Leah is going to be our timekeeper, so she'll keep you on task with that. And then lastly, if you guys, you may have probably got here via Facebook, so you know about the library's Facebook page, but you can also check out Teton County Library at Twitter, Interest, and Pentagram. You know what I mean? All right. Well, without further ado, let's see. I don't see any other names so far to put names in the bucket. If you're just joining in, it's not too late. Send me a chat message or put it in the general chat, and I will fill out the form for you, throw it into our jack-o'-lantern bucket, and do the random picking on my end. We have 4 names in there, and we can take as many as we want, but we're only going to pull a total of 5. So without further ado, everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm excited for tonight, and so let's kick it off. Okay. So even though there was a ton of blood in the carpet, I was still pretty confident that I was going to get away with this. So it was the summer of 1988. I was 12 years old, and I was madly in love. Everything I did, everywhere I went, every thought that crossed my mind was about skateboarding. I was absolutely obsessed, still kind of am. And on this particular day in our town, I grew up in Nashua, New Hampshire, there was going to be a skate jam. So a skate jam, it was this event that was like an unofficial event, but it was organized by like the older skaters in our town. And it was just like hundreds of skaters converging on one skate spot for the day, and just like anything goes, just young and old skating, having a good time, just kind of building community and getting together. And this particular skate jam, was going to be at the Nashua Public Library. Woo! Yay, libraries. And so the Nashua Public Library, in my opinion, was like the best skate spot in all of Nashua. It had like rails and different levels of stairs and ledges and drops and benches and even this fountain that you could get in and out of. And so I was super excited that the skate jam was happening at the library. And like I said, this wasn't an official thing. There wasn't a contest or any prizes or permits. It was just sort of everybody show up and have fun. And like my younger brother, Adam, and I, we were going to go. He was 10, I was 12, but we had one big problem. The Nashua Library was located in downtown Nashua, and for us, it was strictly forbidden for us to go skateboarding downtown by ourselves. Like that we hadn't really got to that point yet. And so, but we were pretty confident that we weren't going to let that stop us. So, we didn't really want our parents to drive us down and be like hanging out in the wings. Like, well, we wanted the freedom and independence of like hanging out with this big crew of our skate community. So we came up with this, what I considered to be a foolproof plan. We were going to tell them we were going one place, and then instead of going there, we would go to the library. What could possibly go wrong? And the good thing was the library was only like a mile from our house, so we could actually get down there on our skateboards and get back pretty easily. So we made the call. We were doing it. I don't know where we said we were going, but we headed to the library. And the whole way down to the library, I was just like so nervous. I was like, man, did we make a bad decision? We're going to get in so much trouble. Like, I hope this is worth it. And then we get there. And it was like, there were so many skaters, like all these older dudes that I looked up to. And it was like our friends were there and just such high energy. And so everybody's skating, and I'm like watching these older guys do tricks that I didn't even know were humanly possible. And I'm just so inspired. And I'm like trying new tricks and landing some of my old tricks. And I'm literally having like the best day ever until I wasn't. So I ollie up on this ledge. If you don't know what an ollie is, you can Google it. I ollie up on this ledge. It was about like 18 inches tall. And I instantly fall over the far side of the ledge. The only problem was that far side was like 4 or 5 feet drop. And I went head first, upside down and backwards. So I ended up landing like on the back of my head and neck. And I stopped with my back against the wall. My body's up above me. My legs are at the top of the wall. And I'm just like stuck. And after the shock wears off, I open my eyes and I look up just in time to see my skateboard tip over the edge and come rocketing down like nose first directly into my forehead like a lawn dart. So this scene must have looked as gnarly to other people as it felt to me, because people rushed over instantly to like take care of me and make sure I was okay. And so they got me up on my feet. And once I was upright, my forehead just opened up and it was just gushing blood, like more blood in my eyes than I could wipe away and be able to see. And so I start freaking out like, oh my God, this is definitely going to require more than a Band-Aid. What am I going to do? And so my friends kind of help me out. Someone gives me a t-shirt and I put the t-shirt on my forehead and I'm trying to stop the bleeding. And they make this plan. They're like, okay, we're going to bring you to Copa Sports, which was this skate shop. It was only like a block away and it was owned by my friend Tony's parents. And I was like, okay, this is great. This will work. Like Tony's parents are parents, so they'll know exactly what to do. And Tony's parents own a skate shop, so they must be cool. So they'll totally understand the importance of not telling my parents about any of this. So we're on our way down the road. My mom's shaking her head. We're on our way down the road. And we get stopped because we have to wait for a walk signal to cross Main Street. It's like, a busy road. And like at this point, the t-shirt is just getting saturated. Like we're a mess. Like we're a bunch of little skate rats and this really bloody dude. And I look over and there's this car as we start crossing with the crosswalk. The first car at the stoplight was this woman and her young daughter. And so like, I look over them and they just look like in total shock, like what's going on. So I move the t-shirt away and instantly the floodgates open in my face. I look like Sissy Spacek from Carrie. And although I couldn't hear them, like they definitely looked like they were screaming. So we bust into Copa Sports and like, at this point, the t-shirt is a lost cause, like blood streaming off my face. It's following me from the sidewalk into the store and then onto their brand new carpet. And like, this is like, it just gets totally hectic. Like someone starts screaming and then I just hear voices shouting all of these things like, what the hell happened? who is this kid? Is he okay? What'd you do to him? And then I hear, grab the med kit. Someone call an ambulance. And then, I'm going to call his parents. And I look over at my brother and I said, oh, shit. All right. Thanks, everybody. And if you had tuned in, or if you were at the Story Slam at Mike Yogo Park a couple summers ago, you might have heard my mom's version of where that story picks up. She kind of tells what it was like to show up at Copa Sports with an ambulance outside and a trail of blood leading in. So anyways, thanks a lot. That was fun. Mom, thanks for getting me stitches multiple times that summer. And everybody, thanks for listening. So without further ado, let's see, we don't have a lot of Mad Libs, so I'm going to save those right now. But I will remind everyone, if you jump in the chat, you can go to the bottom. There's a chat button. It'll pop up on the side. And there are links to our Mad Libs, which are totally anonymous. It's through a Google form. There's no one knows what you're going to write or what your thoughts are. And I'll read them as they come up. So we would love to get some. Oh, nice. Hayden Hilke to everyone. My mom, Cam, is the best. Thanks, Hayden. So anyways, jump into the Mad Libs and give us your thoughts. Also, if anybody still wants to put their name in the bucket, it's not too late. You can check in the, doesn't look like we have any extras added as of yet, but if you do want to put your name in the bucket and tell a story for tonight's theme of breaking the rules, that's where you can let me know. All right, so now I'll do the official mix up. We've got 4 names in here, and we're going to start off with, please help me welcome Jane Levino. And Leah is going to manage the muting. So let's see. Jane, how are you?
Good, good. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Yeah, welcome, and thanks for putting your name in the bucket.
Thanks.
All right, well, have fun.
So I am a rule follower 99% of the time. But if a rule is unnecessary, I might bend it, especially when I can be sure to get away with it. How? 2 words, identical triplet. I have 2 sisters who look exactly like me, sound exactly like me, and act exactly like me. When we were shy young children, we never took advantage of this. But by the time we got to high school, we were ready to break some rules. It all started, innocently enough, in a math class we all shared. Mr. Insolia was very strict about the alphabetical assigned seats in this class. My sisters and I sat in the P section, but he arranged us alphabetically by our first names. So it was Kathy, Ellen, and Jane. Around springtime, we decided to switch up our seats, simply because we were feeling wild and reckless, and we wanted to see what would happen. So we sat there holding our breath, and nothing happened. The following week, Sister Kathy spoke up. Mr. Insolia, can you tell us apart? Of course I can tell you girls apart. So you would know if we switched our seats? Absolutely. Well, we switched seats all of last week. That was easy. A few years later, we were all away in college, different colleges. And well, actually, I'm going to come back to that one. A few years later, my sister Kathy, well, we were in college, but Sister Kathy was working and living and studying in Angers, France. And one afternoon, she found herself at the city police station, standing in line, waiting to get her resident alien card. So when she finally made it to the front of the line with her paperwork and 4 photos of herself, the stern government official looked at her and said, actually, he said, you need 5 photos. Of course, this was in French, but my French isn't good enough. You need 5 photos. Come on. She dropped her head and she turned to leave when inspiration struck. Je me souviens. I just remembered. She smiled as she reached into her wallet and pulled out one more photo. It was a photo of me, her identical sister. But no one was the wiser, and it was this imposter's face that ended up attached to her official ID. Years later, when we were all young mothers, Sister Ellen lived and worked up in Yellowstone National Park. That summer, her husband was away fighting forest fires, and Ellen needed to leave home to attend a ranger conference outside the park. She had 2 young boys, Ben and Tom. Tom was the baby at just 9 months. So I agreed to drive up with my 4-year-old to help out. Every mother knows that there's a rule that says you cannot leave your baby overnight without experiencing guilt and anxiety. Babies are vulnerable. They can also be really suspicious. So, so when it came time for Ellen to leave, she blew him a kiss. He happened to be down for a nap. So she blew him a kiss, slipped out the door. And when he woke up, I gave him a big smile and I lifted him out of his crib. The next 2 days were spent happily reading his books, playing with his toys, eating the 5-star snacks that Ellen had left for us. And it was going great. On the last afternoon, I took the kids out for a walk. Tom strapped in his stroller, and Ellen got home and ran down the street to meet us. "Hi, Tom," she said as she peered into the front of the stroller and gave him a big smile. Tom froze. He then did a series of double takes between me behind him and Ellen in front of him before he finally reached his arms out toward the real mama. "I don't think he knew you had left," I whispered. As I thought about these events, it got me really thinking about the rule-breaking, self-replicating embryonic cells that led to our triplet birth. Being identical gave us far more than the ability to fool our high school math teacher. This gift expanded our experiences and tripled our love. Thank you.
Nice work. Thank you, Jane. That was awesome. I'm a big fan of stories like that where you find a vulnerability and you exploit it. Like, way to go. That was great. I have my younger brother who I was talking about. We not so much anymore, but in college we looked a lot alike to the point where people thought we were twins, and so we got to play that game a little bit. Some of those stories I can't really tell right now because my mom's here, but maybe another time. Anyways, thank you so much, Jane. Greatly appreciate you throwing your name in the bucket, and that was an awesome story. All right, looks like we do have some Mad Libs coming in. I'll read one here. It says, "I am happy that I broke this rule of Southern tradition because mountains." Nice. I feel like that happens with a lot of people, like the Underground Railroad, right to the mountains. Well, welcome. I guess I don't know if you just got here or not, but that's awesome. And I'm assuming by mountains you mean Jackson Hole. So good story. All right. Again, let's get some Mad Libs going. Come on, you guys aren't doing anything, right? Maybe you're cooking dinner or something. We've got the Mad Lib links in the chat. All you have to do is type words with your fingers. From those fingers, it will go onto the internet. I will read it with my eyes, process it with my brain, reiterate it with my mouth, and we will all enjoy it together. Yeah, my mom put my brother did use my brother did use my ID to buy beer. Actually, there was one time in college, we were going into a bar and he was in front of me by 4 people and I was behind him, and we had the same exact ID. He just had my old ID. And so it was amazing how easily we were able to fool people. not so much anymore, but I guess we don't really need to worry about that because we're in our 40s and I don't need a fake ID anymore. All right, let's see. I mixed it up and I pulled one, but I didn't give it enough attention. So let's see what we're doing. How about Sharif? My man. Welcome, Sharif, with the awesome backdrop of our real. You're so.
And I can only wonder how different our lives would have turned out had we gotten caught breaking the rules.
Yes, that was awesome, Sharif. So I think, I don't know how, I can't speak for everyone, but I know for me, I agree. Like right now, like you wouldn't even think of pushing a Jeep off of or throwing a bowling ball into a river, right? Like, or burning something in a national forest. But listening to that, like all I wanted to do was bash a car with a baseball bat and light it on fire and watch it explode. Like you just fed so many deep desires for me. Like, I really appreciate that. And I also have a feeling that like, you probably still have a little bit of that in you. And if I need something done, I bet there's a price. So I'll let you know.
There's always a price, Jeff.
There's always a price. Everyone has their price. So I'm just glad to know that myself and at least 42, 41 other people now know where to go if we need something fixed. So thank you. Awesome. Well done, Sharif. So good. I have some stories that like, yeah, there's one that like, it's kind of like the one that you're like, I can't have this recorded, but when I moved from Jackson, I have a story that I'm going to tell. Like when I know that I'm not coming back anymore, I've got one for you guys. So I'll let you know ahead of time to tune in, but I appreciate that. That's the taking it to your grave, but you told it at the Story Slam. So thanks. Okay, let's see. We've got 2 more names in the bucket. Unless anybody else wants to throw their name in there, we have room for 1 more. We do have a couple more Mad Libs. These aren't really firing tonight, but if there's still time, if you want to get in, again, in the chat, click one of those links and you can fill out our Mad Libs. I am happy that I broke this rule: never date an employee, because we are in love. That's awesome. Congrats. I don't think it always works out that way, so that's really good to hear. All right, so let's see. 2 more names in here, and I'll mix them up. Nice and mixy. Get double mixy. And we are looking at Mr. Ryan Newray. Yeah, Ryan. Another familiar face here at the Cabin Fever Story Slam series.
Thank you, Leah. Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Yeah, there seems to be a trend of teenage destruction and breaking the rules. Some people may not know, when I was younger, I was fascinated by fireworks from a really, really young age. And so that bar moved from, putting them into bottles and throwing them, and then it turned into driving and throwing them out of the car, and then it turned into throwing them into drive-through windows, and then shooting them at houses and driving away. And it was just, the bar just kept getting higher and higher and higher. And now I look back on it and I'm like, wow, the arrogance of like a suburb white kid. Like, there was just no limit. And I, conflated this with my freedom. And I look back and I'm like, thank God I did this all back then. Otherwise it would be an act of like domestic terrorism. I'm half Persian. I'd be like on some list or something. But, again, the bar just kept getting higher and higher. And the funny thing about it is I was always sober. It was always about breaking the rule and having that cheap thrill and getting the high out of it and so on. And so, this one evening I had this great idea, and I will say this is not an admission. I am telling a story. I did just look up statute of limitations in California, but I grab a couple friends and we drive down to this resort. It's a pretty sprawling seaside resort. And the great idea is you all sit in the lobby, record me doing this. I'm going to do like a bottle rock combination with the wick tied into some firecrackers in the lobby bar. And so they're sitting there, they're waiting for me. They're more nervous than I am. I have this like ego that's like bigger than the resort of like, I'm gonna get these like old biddies and whatnot. And So I remember opening this glass door to the lobby bar, and this woman sitting in this like plush lounge seat, she looks down and sees me because she hears me doing the lighter and it's not catching. So I'm just looking up at her, I'm looking at the thing, I light it and I throw it and I don't look back. And the next thing I hear is, you know, snap and crackle and pop. And I'm imagining people throwing themselves. And I suddenly do realize there's someone chasing after me. I'm running down this hallway that has carpet and there's this kind of like sinking feeling because it's not on wood. And I just know the person behind me, not, you know, they're not going to get me, but I can kind of feel the negative space of like someone being behind me, and they're kind of like, you know, they're also panting. Go out these double doors, it's nighttime, and I'm going up this rolling hill, and there's some villas. And so I, you know, dodge into this one villa. There's a fire pit outside, and I duck and I crawl, and then I go to the next villa, and I'm getting farther and farther away. Finally, I'm in this bush against one of these villas. And I'm just thinking, you know, there's so much adrenaline in my body. I could be here all night. That's totally fine. If I have to stay here and hide away, I got away with it. I have my cell phone. My friends are texting me, just lay low, so on. And like, oh, okay, I got away with this. And then I hear sirens. And so I start to cozy up to the idea of, you're gonna be here for a while. Just kind of lock your knees, stay exactly where you are. Just keep your, you know, ears really open. Try to hold your breath and not have your heart coming out of your mouth. And then I hear a helicopter. And I'm just in my mind, like sometimes I'll ask those friends, like, did this really happen? Because it was so hard to believe. Little did I know the Obamas were staying at the hotel the next day, and multiple people thought it was gunshots. So I'm, you know, the light at one point is literally over me. There all this commotion's going on. There's tons of ambulances. It's in a really nice area. I had just seen the movie Drive. If you've never seen the movie Drive, highly recommend it. I had seen it like 4 times in theaters. And the opening scene kind of was this gesture of like, break the rules of how this is gonna go. Like how the outcome of this doesn't look very good. And so inspired by that movie and this like total arrogance of a like 17 or 18-year-old from the suburbs, I put my, you know, phone to my ear, come out of the bush, looking up at the helicopter, acting as if I'm staying at the resort, going, oh my God, I don't know what's going on here. Something's happening. And just walk literally right past the police chief, right past this huge group of people, kind of stand next to them for a second, looking around, get back to my friend's car. I'm in the trunk, they drive away. And yeah, I do have to honestly ask my friends quite often, did that really happen? Because it just still blows my mind. So anyway, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm just like getting this, like the inner Jeff is getting this like awesome just massage right now of all like these I would never want to be in that position, but it's so awesome because like I don't think I ever did anything that bad, but I always sort of like wanted to, you know, I would like take I would take bottles and smash them in the woods, and like, oh, that was so amazing. And I can totally understand why you would look up the statute of limitations, because I just looked up when the movie Drive came out, and it wasn't very long ago. So. Oh, Ryan, thank you. That is amazing and crazy. And I will put you on my list of people to call when I need things done. Thanks. All right. That was Ryan Newray. And let's see, we have a couple more Mad Libs that are here. Whoops, I have 2 computers and I was looking at one screen playing with the other mouse. I am happy that I broke this rule, drinking underage, because I met one of my lifelong friends in jail. Awesome. Nice. All right, well, let's, without further ado, I'll mix it up just for the fanfare, and our final storyteller will be Abigail. Welcome, Abigail. Leah.
Yeah, that's just crazy, those stories.
Right?
I didn't even blow up anything. I didn't steal anything. I just was like a 14-year-old, you know, like a 14-year-old kid. And it was Berkeley, California in 1968. And I decided I'm just going to break a rule. So I decided I'm going to play hooky. I'm going to just break a rule tomorrow. So there I was. I decided, well, you know, there were a lot of other people breaking rules. I mean, a lot. Like, you know, there was drugs all over the place, and like, you know, there were sit-ins and riots and demonstrations, and the parents were having sex out of marriage all over the place. It was disgusting. You know, but what did I care? I'm 14-year-old, and they're just sort of creeps and God, nutty people. What do I care? Well, Ronnie Reagan, the governor, he really did care. He cared that people were breaking the rules. And so he sent in the National Guard, and there was all National Guard all over the place. You know, these hyped up, scared kids, and they've got their rifles and they're cruising around town. But what really got me, they parked their tanks right in our athletic field. I mean, can you believe it? Our athletic field. And then we had to cancel the football game with the Yellow Jackets, Berkeley Yellow Jackets against the Oakland Hornets. I mean, indignant teenagers. We were just livid, indignant. What were they thinking? So, but then again, we just heard Martin Luther King was assassinated. And then we knew our brothers, our elder brothers, were coming back in body bags from the Vietnam War. So I decided, God, I just really need to see for myself what's going on. So next day, I cut school, I went up to the Berkeley campus, and I found myself a nice little bench, sort of up on a balcony, and I hung out there. On the one side, I could see the riot police behind their sort of barricades, and they were sort of black and mean and scary looking, you know, men. And then over here, there's all the protesters, these skinny little college students, you know, hell no, we won't go, and LBJ, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today, and power to the people. So they're all chanting and raving and pretty much having a good time. And I was definitely excited and grooving with it. It was like, ooh, this is a good thing to skip school for. And then the kids said, stick it to the man and kill the pigs. And the students the mob just overflowed, jumped the barrier, and they were throwing rocks and screaming, and the police, yeah, they came back, and they had their billy clubs, and they were whamming. I mean, they were cracking bones, and kids were screaming. Kids were being hauled away to the ambulances, and there was blood, and God, it was awful. And I remember screaming, no, stop, no. But it didn't stop, you know, it just didn't stop. And I remember sort of just sinking to the ground, holding on to this railings of the banister. And I was sobbing. I mean, I was sobbing my heart out. I was just sobbing. And later, much later, when I went home, I thought, yeah, this is real life. This is what it's like. And I could have been a cop, or I could have been a protester, either way, because that's kind of who we are. And I thought, I need to be really careful about my choices. And I am going to break the rules, because I just need to know for myself. I just want to know what's going on. So that was it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Abigail, so much. Wow, that was a lot in there. Learned a lot. Got his history lesson. Kind of a crazy experience and time for a 14-year-old to be growing up in Berkeley, it sounds like. So I imagine you have a lot of other rule breaking stories that probably came out of that time, I would guess. But thank you so much for sharing. Thanks to all of our storytellers for sharing tonight. We had Jane, Sharif, Ryan, and Abigail. Like, really, it's always crazy. I've said this before, but you never really know how a theme is going to hit, and some hit better than others. And I feel like tonight we kind of nailed it, like breaking the rules. Leah, that was a good one. So well done choosing that. So right now we are going to let our judges, Amy and Den, sort out our first, second, and third place finishers. We got a little bit more to tell you before we get there. We do have one more Mad Lib, and I think I know who probably wrote this one. So it says, "I am happy that I broke this rule. Don't skip school, because the only time you could get a table at Parker's Maple Barn with 20 of your closest friends from Nashua High was during school hours." So I have a feeling that might be one of my high school friends. If Kelly Baker is out there, or maybe not, maybe it's someone else, but Parker's Maple Barn was where we all went when we skipped school in high school for breakfast, because I don't know why, but it was like 45 minutes or an hour away from high school, and we could have gone to like Denny's down the street, but instead we drove out into the sticks of New Hampshire to get like pancakes, but it was worth it. So anyways, thank you all for filling out those Mad Libs. We had a few tonight. And then I have a couple things to tell you guys. So we have prizes. It is a contest. Every place, first, second, and third tonight, they're all getting one of these awesome Cabin Fever Story Slam hats. So these are very limited edition. You can't buy these. You can only earn them. So every one of our first, second, and third people get that. And then in second place, you also get a $20 gift certificate to your business of choice in Jackson. And then first place is a gift certificate for $40 to your business of choice in Jackson. Although I don't know that it has to be Jackson. I'll let you connect with Leah about that. So I think maybe if you direct message Leah your phone number or email, that would probably be the best way for you to get in touch. It's Leah Schlachter if you're looking for her name. So yeah, we'll figure that out once we know who first, second, and third are. Reminder, Teton County Library is on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and of course, Twitter. So you can find out more about what's going on at the library in these crazy times. They're staying active and have a lot of programming going on. And they've got the books. There's always books. I want to say, let you know about our next Story Slam. We have one in February, and then another one in March coming up for the rest of the series here. February's date is Tuesday, February 23rd, and the theme for that will be first impressions. So if you have a story about first impressions, or if you can think of one, we will hope to hear your story in about a month from now. Otherwise, let's see. I don't know how Leah's getting me the results. I better keep all of my lines of digital communication open. You never know where it's going to come from. Could be a text, could be an email, could be in the chat, could be smoke signals. Again, thanks to our storytellers, you guys. That was so awesome tonight. Learned some stuff. Was a little bit shocked. Was a lot shocked, and was definitely entertained. And again, thanks to all of our storytellers who threw their name in the hat tonight. Uh-oh. What did I do? Oh, I think I'm still with you. Whew. These new Mac touchpads are like, they're finicky. Let's see. It's not too late if you guys wanted to do a Mad Lib. Maybe I could just make one up. I should have never broken this rule because, See, like these things, the first things that always come to my mind are like the ones that I probably shouldn't say in public. And then I have to like weed those out and then find like the good ones. So I'm going to not bother just throwing out what comes to mind. I think everyone should break this rule because civil disobedience. I think everyone should be a little bit like civilly disobedient. It's probably not the right way to say that, but I'll take that from Abigail's story. So in these times, like just enough civil disobedience, right? Like you don't have to like start climbing walls to the Capitol and like macing cops, just like the right enough of civil disobedience. Keep it in check, but let's keep breaking some rules. Let's see what else. Again, thanks to Leah for being our timer tonight. She's always playing multiple roles here, keeping people muted, keeping the live stream feed getting edited as we go. So that's awesome. And again, if anybody does not want their story shared, if you want it to stay here tonight, please connect with Leah, whether it's directly through the chat right now, or if you want to reach her outside of the event, and we can edit it out. So, but it sounds like the statute of limitations maybe has expired on a couple of these stories ish. Like, I'm still like, I was blown away by Sharif's, but like Ryan, like, I'm so glad that you're not locked up in a federal prison. Like, that is wild times. Wild. I like, that's the kind of story where like people are going to go and tell that story. You should call that one into the Moth. You should leave that on the Moth hotline. I feel like that's one of those ones that's so exceptional that the Moth probably would be stoked to hear it. And then they'll be like, actually, you know what, you were wrong about the statute of limitations, so we can't have you tell that story for another 3 years or something like that. Let's see, Leah, do you know or do we have results yet for first, second, third? Because I'm not sure where to be looking.
The judges, Den and Amy, are talking to each other. It was just kind of tricky because they don't know each other, so I had to get them. And I didn't know about like putting them in a breakout room or not. So they're talking. Okay. I think they should be pretty quick. I don't know. I was thinking maybe I could tell a story about the rules, but maybe they look like they're done. Are you done, Den? Okay, did you text me the winners?
Sweet.
Leah, I just texted you.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's on my phone. Thanks.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Den. Being the judge is never the easy job to have of any kind, of any contest. So we definitely appreciate you guys listening, listening intently and putting in the effort.
Yeah, definitely a really tough decision. All of the stories were great. Thank you guys. It's really fun.
I agree. All right. Again, first place.
Text you the winners, Jeff.
Okay, perfect. Technology. I mean, again, like I said, this isn't the same experience as when we do it live, but it is fun kind of figuring out how to like make all this happen, right? Like 2 computers, 3 tabs, 2 tabs over here, anonymous Mad Libs. Now we're texting. All right, so here we go. Without further ado, in third place, getting the Cabin Fever Story Slam hat is Jane. Congratulations, Jane. And then let's see, in second place with the $20 gift certificate to your business of choice and a hat, that one's going to Ryan. Well done, Ryan. Woo! And then finally, our winner, first place, $40 gift certificate to your business of choice and the hat, Sharif. Woo! There we go. I wonder if you would have won if you'd burnt that forest down. Like, that wouldn't have been, you know, that might have stained your story a little bit, but you did it. So welcome, or congrats, I mean. That's awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much. Don't forget